Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Freedom Friday here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm as always your host, the Ohio Patriot, and for today's episode, we are going to talk about why it is time to be America first and Americans only. And by that I mean fuck every other country. We need to stop giving way to every other country in this world. We need to stop being the world police. We need to stop being the literal World Bank, etc., etc. And this goes exactly what I was about to be talking about as the opening statement here against Ramaswamy's ass with the stupid statement he put out on X, like in the last half hour or so is what it is, where he made a statement at one of the events he was at recently, making the claim of time to stop fighting over the scraps of a shrinking pie and focus on growing the pie instead. Economic growth is the most pro-worker policy of all. Yeah, you know how you get economic growth there, buddy? By not fucking importing a whole bunch of motherfuckers. By actually giving Americans a chance. You know, we shouldn't have shrinking pies like this. You know, we shouldn't have our little personal pie. We should have a giant pie we can be eating off of. So stop stealing our fucking pie, Vivek. You and your damn Indian scammer motherfuckers. You and your goddamn fucking third world trash, etc. Stop stealing our fucking pie. It's our pie, bitch. And it's that simple. It's time for Americans to come first. For once in this country. And that means bringing back higher paying jobs for Americans. That means actually having Americans be the one in political roles. Not anchor baby assholes like this motherfucker who's literally been self-admitted for 2 years now. He's an anchor baby who admitted his mother was not even a legal citizen at the time of his birth in 1985. Way, this dude is younger than I am by at least 4 months. So, yeah, it's a bunch of shit, honestly, dude. There used to be a time period in history, throughout American history, where you actually had immigration downtimes. You had forced assimilation in this country. It happened several times. When the Irish came, when the Italians came, when a bunch of other Eastern Europeans came is what it was. We had economic downtimes, we had immigration downtimes, and we had a stop of all immigration is what it was at one point in time in history. Where you either learned English or you got kicked the fuck out. And it's that simple. The problem now is, since at least 1965, since Hart-Celler Act of the Naturalization Immigration Act there of 65, which, by the way, the guys that were Hart and Celler, that I believe were both U.S. senators, if not mistaken, or at least U.S. congressmen anyway, that were the ones that were behind this bill, they lied to everybody on the floor there, as it was, in Congress, because they falsely claimed there would never be a demographical shift, and yet within a decade of that being passed, we went from having almost all immigration from white European countries to almost all immigration from third world hellholes like Venezuela, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, etc., etc. And you saw a demographical shift from white to Latino. The issue, when you do not have a cohesive unit and an actual united front as the United States what it is there, you have nothing. When you don't have everyone speak the same fucking language, you have nothing. You have no community whatsoever is what it is, man. What you have is a bunch of various colonies in the United States against what it is. That's why you always see places when we bring in people at a record number, both legal and illegal at this point, where you see these little things pop up where it's like little Honduras, little El Salvador, Chinatown, Koreatown, you know, little whatever at that point, little Somalia, little fucking Cuba, etc. There is what it is. The problem becomes when you have such a divided nation like that, you have no cohesive unit. You have no unity as a country. You have no basis in anything, because all you're going to have is a bunch of people being in their own little worlds. What it is there. You know, I had a great conversation a couple years ago, actually, with one of our subscribers who I consider a very good friend at this point. And he was telling me a story of some of his relatives coming over to America for a visit. And I believe, I can't remember if they were Korean or if they were Japanese. I think they were Korean, if I'm not mistaken. And they had gone to visit, I forget which city it was in this country, but it was one of the major cities in, like, I think maybe California, because it was little Koreatown was what they were in. I believe, or it was Koreatown was what they were in over there. I believe what it was. And they came here, went to Koreatown there for like a couple weeks as it was. Basically had a terrible time there because they never left like this 6-8 block radius that made up that like little area as what it was there. And then wanted to shit talk America and be like, oh, America sucks. And when they were asked about it, they're like, well, where all did you visit? And they're just like, oh, we just stayed right here as what it was. And they're like, well, no wonder. And this is what I'm saying, dude. Like, unless you want to embrace America as a vast country that, you know, legitimately, if you were to drive from California to Maine, is going to take you, like, I believe it's like several days. It's at least a couple of days anyway, straight. But that would obviously be having multiple people drive and taking shifts and stuff like that, not having, like, continuously, you know, some dude all hopped up on drugs and driving, like, you know, 40, 50 hours straight is what it would be then. But the entire point of the matter is that, you know, it's not like we're Europe or anything like that, where you can drive, like, through most of Europe in, like, time span of, like, a day or less. You know, how you can go from one point of Texas to another point of Texas, and it's like 16 hours and you're still in Texas. Like, that's how big Texas is, by comparison to, like, most of these other countries, honestly. And the fact of the matter is, when you start looking at these countries, whether it be, you know, Sweden, France, Great Britain, etc., or whether it be China, Japan, etc., there. I think China's actually a bit bigger, though, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have some of these smaller countries, though, that are the size of states, basically, and the population of these countries are less than a lot of U.S. states than it is there. And so, when you have, you know, all these manufacturing jobs for the past, you know, let's go ahead and say like 30 years or so, because I believe it was about 1990. Yeah, I want to say it was about 1990, somewhere between 92 and 97, I believe is what it was, when you started having a lot of the manufacturing jobs being taken out of America. And it was pieces of shit like Sherrod Brown at the time. It was also pieces of shit like Mike DeWine at the time, you know, career Democrats, career rhinos, etc. there, that were in power in the U.S. Senate, U.S. Congress, etc. That were the ones that voted these jobs overseas is what it is there. And I point that out, obviously, because piece of shit Sherrod Brown is trying to run for Congress, or trying to run for U.S. Senate again in 2026 here. So, anyway. But, and by the way, that career criminal, if Frank LaRosa had actually done his job in the state of Ohio here, would already be in prison for the rest of his life for voter fraud, because there's more than enough evidence. I actually gathered it myself. And if they had taken the fucking evidence and investigated it, you would have had at least a couple 100,000 dead people, as well as illegal voters, on Sherrod Brown's voter rolls, is what it is. And that would have been more than enough to prove voter fraud. It would have been more than enough to arrest this motherfucker forever and throw him in prison here in the state of Ohio. But of course, you know, rhino sacks shit like Frank LaRosa that want to do their job is what it is there. And this is exactly why I hate both major parties in this country, honestly, dude, because it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican, you're most likely a fucking scumbag. And this is the problem with the two-party system in general, is when you can have legitimately 50 women try to run for Miss America, and yet we somehow come down to 2 political parties on the same fucking bird every single time. That's a huge issue. There should be at least 50 major parties in this country at any given time, because at least then the American people that are voting would be able to actually tell you the truth of who they really are, whether it be a communist, whether it be a socialist, whether it be a Marxist, or whether it be an actual constitutionalist. And that's the whole point of the matter. But instead, what we have is we have these fucking people that are, you know, hoisted upon us, that are thrust upon us people that we don't want in power, people that are literally the biggest scumbag possible candidates for races. And I'm talking specifically about Vivek too, for that matter. Vivek, Amy Acton, Tim Ryan, they should all be in prison right now, dude. Vivek should be in prison for various crimes, for his IPO scam, etc. There, that made him a billionaire. Amy Acton should be in prison right now for crimes against humanity, for literally locking down the state of Ohio for 400 days, specifically 442 days is what it was. And then, obviously, at the same time, keeping Planned Parenthood and other literal child murder factories open to keep operating. Then, at the same time, I believe she was also partially responsible for the COVID shots being doled out by DeWine with the Vax-A-Million shit. That literally killed my mother, by the way. And also a couple of my uncles, too, for that matter. And you guys wonder why I want blood justice at this point is what it is. Like, that's why, basically, literally. I want eye for an eye, motherfuckers. I want blood for blood at this point. And I'm dead fucking serious. I will not stop until I get that. Ever. Because you fuckers killed my mom, and you killed my favorite fucking uncle that was like a father to me. And it's that simple. You take from me, I will take from you. And I will put your asses fucking away if I'm ever elected into power in this country. And it's that goddamn simple. I will see justice happen in my lifetime. Plain and simple. Anyway. Action also did a bunch of other criminal shit, you know, forcing masks on kids, which Vivek was also part of too, by the way. And as well as like school shutterings and stuff like that. Both these people were part of that. Tim Ryan should be in prison for the whole Kill MAGA thing, where he openly called for violence against Trump supporters. That directly led to a kid in another state being killed a couple days after. That's what it was, etc., etc. So, not to mention, Tim also done much of insider trading too, for that matter. While he was in Congress, he enriched himself for over 20 years in Congress, and it's just another reason why this motherfucker should be in prison right now, and exactly why every Democrat and Republican that's a career politician in federal office right now should most likely be in prison right now for insider trading is what it is there. So, anyway. But then what you end up having is you have these situations where these people think that they have what it takes to be something, when in reality, they are the biggest pieces of shit ever. And this is what I've said many, many times. And exactly, well, I keep saying this every single time I, do one of these shows, is we must have automatic disqualifications from both holding office and running for office going forward, and it be retroactive backwards for at least a decade, because there's absolutely no reason that most of these stupid motherfuckers should even be in power right now is what it is. Especially the retards that are now electing, like Mamdani, or like this stupid fucking cunt that we're talking about right now, out of California, who is named Katie Wilson, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this woman is 43 years old. She is married to some dude, and yet both her and her husband are financially depending on her parents because they're living with their parents and they're financially supporting their dumbasses, what it is. And yet this is the fucking socialist, commie, stupid cunt that the retarded motherfuckers in Seattle, Washington recently elected as their mayor now. This is being synced now. I think that's the one. Okay, yeah, that was the one. Okay. So yeah, we got Seattle Mayor-elect Katie Wilson's socialist wish list. I want everyone in the in this great city of ours to have a roof over their heads, universal child care, free K-12 summer care, and then this person, as they put it, you want socialist housing, want much more actually, I guess this is still her quote is what it was. She said, I want social housing, want much more land and wealth to be stewarded by communities instead of corporations. And meanwhile, this stupid bitch is literally now standing with a bunch of retarded workers outside of a fucking Starbucks, a company that was literally created in Seattle, Washington, like 30-something years ago, I believe it was, or close to that, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, she's just a fucking idiot, dude, is what it is. And this is what I'm saying, like, how these people are even allowed to run for office in the first place is the problem. Because you literally have retarded children voting for retarded children. That's what these people are, dude. They're retarded children pretending to be adults that are being voted in by more retarded children pretending to be adults. This is the issue with our country right now. And this is exactly why voting age should be minimum 25 at this point, honestly. And I'm almost kind of on the Andrew Wilson timeline of like 35 and over is what it is now. Usually you have to be a U.S. Senator, obviously, and president and stuff like that. So, I don't know, man. Like, it's like something needs to change, obviously, is what it is. And I think it only changes when we change, is what it is right now. And I feel like a great point was brought up in Tim Pool's various Timcasts this week. And I know Andrew Wilson wasn't on one panel the one night. I forget if it was Wednesday or Tuesday, maybe. One of those two. But he actually brought up a great point, and it was basically about how if we, the people right now that live in this country, if we Americans are not the ones, running for these seats of power and taking down these seats of power, then who's going to be taking them? It's going to be all this fucking turmoil trash. It's going to be these dumbass, retarded leftist socialists and stuff like that that are in there right now, is what it is. And this is the issue when you allow for stuff like that. And the crazy fact of the matter is, when it comes to that Katie Wilson woman, they are handing her, I think it's like a $9 or $10 billion budget as a mayor. And what's even more insane is when you go to New York City, there is what it is. They are handing that piece of shit Islamic terrorist Mamdani $100 billion fucking dollars, dude. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's fucking psychotic is what it is, dude. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Let me go check the thing again. I know it could be 100 million I'm thinking of. Maybe it's like 9. I know it's got to be more than 9 million for Seattle, though. I'm going to look up this Ari Hoffman person's account again here because I feel like they said something earlier about this chick. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh, yeah, apparently this Katie woman was also quoted as Mayor, I'm excited to explore public option grocery stores. So literally breadlines is what she's embracing. She's embracing breadline burning is what it is there, man. Absolutely fucking insane. Completely psychotic there is what it is. Oh, here's a good tweet from a couple hours ago that this dude posted here. Which is... Breaking New York City Mayor-elect Mamdani congratulates Seattle Mayor-elect Katie Wilson on her win. This after Wilson's appearance on CNN and falsely claimed she didn't run as a socialist, got called out, then said she is really excited to have a coast-to-coast partnership. Fucking hell, dude. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. I swear there was something here. Yeah, here's your dumbass at the... socialist Seattle Mayor-elect Katie Wilson's first move after winning the election was to boycott Starbucks, a homegrown company. What a dumb cunt. Fucking retard, man, I'll tell you what. Like, these people are so stupid, man. They really are. Like, they are dumb as a fucking box of rocks, man. Like I said, it honestly blows my fucking mind. Like, how we as a country are even allowing this shit. And it has to be something where it's like the people just don't care anymore is what it is, man. And I think that's kind of what it is. It's almost like it kind of goes back to like that weird like black pill where you basically have these younger generations of kids, and you know the Gen Z and then Gen Alpha right now is what it is, which is what my niece is, and they're basically being told, you know, you're never going to afford anything, you're fucked anywhere, whatever the case be, and then you have these crazy motherfuckers come out of the woodwork and are like, well, here I'm going to offer you all this free shit now just to let me in the office, and they left them in the office, and what do these people do immediately? They steal from these people, they embezzle like fucking crazy. I mean, you know, Tiffany Henry's a great example of that one out of Chicago area there is what it was. Illinois. I forget what the town was she was marrying for a little bit there, but yeah, like that bitch embezzled like crazy. I don't understand how she's not in fucking prison right now for RICO Act shit, for that matter. But again, it basically shows like as long as you're either black or some political powerhouse, whatever it is there, you just don't get prison time is what it is in this country. So kind of goes back full circle to what I talked about with Vivek Acton and Tim Ryan, is that they should all be in prison right now, but they're not. So, and then speaking of prison, which is what's going to transition us into our next story here, of this stupid bitch right here, who is claiming that property crime is not a threat to life, and was basically saying how, I should put it here, it's a woman says you are racist MAGA, will go to prison if you, quote, play vigilante and try to stop petty theft. So I think what she was really discussing was like people like seeing people stealing from like a Walmart or a Target or something like that and like trying to stop them. But the fact of the matter is, like, usually loss prevention to get your ass on that one anyway. But if they don't, and it was like just a random American citizen stopping them, whatever the case be, that person isn't really worth to stop you too, dumbass, because you're literally a fucking thief. And back in the day, by the way, and when I say back in the day, I mean like a couple hundred years ago is what it was. I mean, hell, actually, if we go back like full time period to like Robin Hood time period there, like the 1400s, what it is there. If you were caught poaching in the sheriff's or the king's forest there, man, they either cut your fucking hand off or they cut your fucking head off, what it was then. And then, of course, going forward to that one, and even today's day and age, you still have in like third world countries and stuff like that, whether you're different parts of Africa or different parts of Asian nations and stuff like that, like if you're caught stealing, dude, they will cut your damn hand off is what it is there. So, you know, like if you was like, let's say it was like 1814 or something like that, dude, like, or not even 1814, it would be like 1886 or something like that. They would literally catch you after stealing from somebody. You'd have about 10 people beat the fuck out of you in the town square. And then they would either chop your hand off, or they would just literally throw a rope across a fucking like lamppost and just hang your ass on the spot. Is what it is then for stealing. So, you know, the fact of the matter is, like, you're lucky you live in 2025 is what it is right now. I gotta say that is what it is right off the bat right now. And secondarily on that one is when you start looking at a lot of these criminals right now, what this dumb bitch is describing as petty theft is not petty theft at all. It's literally grand theft in most cases. Or if it's not straight up grand theft, it is like very close to it. And then, of course, when you try to stop them, what do? They immediately get violent. And it's like, yeah, dude, if you're being violent, and especially in like, I believe it's either 23 or it's like 27, 28 now, states in this country have stand your ground laws on the books right now. So yeah, if you're trying to be violent and stuff like that, dude, and you're already doing crime and stuff like that, you're totally wrong anyway. And that person that's trying to stop you has every legal right to then shoot your dumb ass if you're becoming violent against them is what it is then. So it's literally a fuck around and find out situation there is what it is. And it's funny to me because even going full circle back on that one, I saw a video earlier today that I'm going to play. This is actually out of the UK, where this guy is discussing how all these tour orders they run into the UK, there's what it is, are now robbing old people of their vehicles and shit. So you got old white guy right here. You got this crazy black one, which, by the way, I'm sorry, but if you're that fucking close into my space and shit, if you're coming that fucking close to me, dude, I'm knocking your fucking jaw, is what it is right there. Like you're getting popped right in the fucking mouth, is what it is. So, anyway. But yeah, she's obviously stealing his car keys, is what it is right now. And then meanwhile, you got her fucking dumbass dude partner here, who's boxing the guy in the other way is what it is, so you can't leave anywhere. And then she just dropped the keys right there. And now asshole comes around. Car keys are sitting right here. And he picks them up and steals the guy's car keys. Just absolutely fucking disgusting is what it is, dude. And by the way, that's not petty theft. That's grand theft right there. What that is. So, and I guarantee that's just going to be happening in America pretty soon, too, for that matter. And I'll tell you what, if I seen that shit, it would be the good old pain pen making its way out. And it'd be a little zappy on some motherfuckers, would it be then, dude? Which is what these people in the UK need to be buying online, is what it is then. And just give them a little jolt to their own medicine, is what it is, as criminals there. Although, to be fair, in the UK, if you did that, you probably would be the person arrested then, because how fucking retarded that country is what it is there. But yeah, it's a bunch of scumbag bullshit, is what it is, dude. And we also got a couple other stories I want to talk about today, real quick. Just basically headline news is what it is right now. Which is, you got California revoking 17,000 commercial driver's licenses given to immigrants, which I guarantee that really what it is illegal is what it is there. And most likely the same pieces of shit that they gave like the fucking Indian guy that killed those people on the roadways, what it is there. So, and we also got Walmart CEO Doug McMillon to step down come February 1st. And a new guy named John Furner is going to take over there, which is, it's interesting to me that the Walton heirs are not actually running that company anymore. That they're just having some other person as their CEO is what it is there. I guess it's because they have so much money they don't even give a fuck anymore is what it is then. So, who knows? But apparently Trump is not going to investigate Democrats and over the Epstein file stuff, because apparently that's come out now, like Hillary Clinton and a bunch of other people are named now. And then we also have Marjorie Taylor Greene time today saying Trump's stance on Epstein's files is a huge miscalculation, which I don't know exactly what she said in that one. It doesn't really matter. It's just it's fucking stupid bullshit all the way around, dude, is what it is. I think Trump's biggest mistake this week, though, was talking about how great H-1B visas are, is what it is, dude, because they are not good. They are not needed, and we don't need these people being imported in our country, is what it is, man. Not to mention, we also don't need 600,000 Chinese students being imported into America just to keep these retarded-ass colleges going. It's like, if the colleges are not going to be able to support themselves, dude, then let them fucking go bankrupt, period, in the story. They're not needed, obviously, so just let them go out of business. Make better places for people to have work as what it is there. Make a better work ethic going on in this country. Actually do trade programs in junior high to high school is what it is now. So these kids can go out of high school with an actual trade under their belt and be able to go directly to work in this nation. You know, and I think that's the biggest slap in the face of all, actually, with Trump talking about we don't have skilled workers in this country. And it's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, because you dumb motherfuckers 30 years ago literally sold our manufacturing out to fucking China is what it is there. And other countries overseas is what it is. And you wonder why 2 generations later we don't have a fucking skill set anymore is what it is there. Which, by the way, you could actually have on-the-job training, buddy. Like, this is the problem with that. Like, and this is my biggest gripe with Trump right now is what it is, dude. And how he is a billionaire and other people like that are so fucking out of touch is what it is with actual everyday Americans. Because they do not understand the real struggles of American citizens in this country in 2025. They do not understand the actual problems that most people face in their everyday lives because they don't have $1 billion fucking dollars behind them, what it is there. They don't have that crazy safety net of cash. They don't have that nepotism of fucking families, what it is there. Which kind of derives off into something else I saw this morning, which is basically Trump's granddaughter, Kai, is supposed to be doing the LPGA debut or something now. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so is this girl actually a talented golfer, or is she just getting that shit through nepotism is what it is then? So is she like some Nepo baby because of Trump, or is it just, her actually having the skill set? I think she does have the skill set, is what it is, which is, again, we'll never actually know the truth on that one because of the Trump name is what it is there. So I do feel a little bit sorry for her on that one because of the fact that it's like, you're always gonna have people being like, "Oh, is this actually some nepotism shit, or is it you actually having the skill set to be here to begin with?" So it is then, and I think until she like proves herself on the links, there's what it is. Like nobody's gonna know. So, but anyway, it is what it is on that one. That's kind of a whatever. At the point is kind of, it's me kind of diverting a little bit there is what it is because of the whole situation. And I was just trying to bring up nepotism thing is what it is basically. So anyway, but let's see what else I want to talk about today. Actually, oh yeah, let's talk about the crazy shit going on Reddit right now that I did not know about until about somewhere between like 48 and 72 hours ago. Which apparently there is a food stamps subreddit that was created in 2014, almost 11 years ago now. And it's kind of funny how they label the food stamp subreddit here, a place for food stamp, aka SNAP or EBT, applicants/recipients to ask questions about the programs, for food stamp program experts to share information and to share any news pertinent to the program. The thing I think is funny though, for food stamp program experts to share information, when that should actually just be labeled as for generational welfare queens to show other people how to become generational welfare queens. That's what it really is at the end of the day, man. Yeah, you got all kinds of crazy posts on here about, like, this person here said, got my full amount at midnight tonight because of the shutdowns and stuff like that. And I got this one person said they went to a food bank. This was 12 days ago, so it was about 13 days ago, so they went to this food bank. I don't know if this is all stuff they gave them in the cart or not, if that's just like some of the things that you could take is what it was then. And then you got some various cleaners and stuff like that there. And I don't know if this is lotion on the top or if that's like soap or what that is. It's hard to tell. Oh, it's baby lotion? Okay. Yeah, so you got baby lotion, you got various Clorox cleaner stuff. Looks like some wipes and stuff there, etc. I'm not sure if that's like baby stuff at the bottom or what that is. Various pallets of half and half. Whole bunch of bread and cookies and stuff there. A bunch more pallets of various foods. Then we got this person here from 21 hours ago saying most working age people that get food stamps are employed. So I'm going to call bullshit on that for two reasons. Because it's now coming out that over 70% of the people on the fucking system are illegal to begin with and have no business even being out in the first place. And then secondarily, when you have it coming out now that not only are there people that are dead on the system still, like at least like there, few. I think it's about 5,000 to 6,000 what it was as right now. They can figure out is what it is now. And that's just without doing like a full audit of every single state right now is what it is. So I guarantee it's probably like 30 times that would be my guess, honestly. And then you also had another one where it was 500,000 people in that same audit that was done by somebody recently, where it was them double dipping, having the same name on twice. So they're basically, instead of getting like 300 a month, they're getting 600 a month. Or instead of getting like, 2,000 a month, they're getting like 4,000 a month. Then is what it is. Which the real slap in the face here in Ohio is that I got my shit loaded yesterday for November. And instead of getting the 160 I was supposed to get up, they're giving me $16 fucking now. It's like, really, people like, what am I gonna do with $16? Because I was figuring out like different things I could buy for $16 right now. And it was literally a pack of buns and a thing of frozen chicken breasts that are like $13. And the buns are like $253 what it is then. Or I could buy like a bag of oranges, which I think are almost $5 over there at Walmart. And then it would be a thing of bananas, like a bushel of bananas that would be like probably like $1 or $2. So that's like $6. And then maybe like a couple bags of chips or something, then probably would be about 16 at that point. So, yeah, not a whole lot, dude. Like, there's not a lot of stuff that you can get for cheap anymore because all these food prices going up and up and up, and it really is a slap in the face at that point, dude. Like, why are you even giving me anything at that point? Just, give me either the full amount or don't give me anything is what it is then, man. Like, I'd rather have you do one or the other at this point, because at least then it would be it wouldn't feel like a slap in the face then when you're giving me like a tenth of what I should be getting is what it is then, especially when, truth be told, it should be the full amount, or it should be at least half that amount of what it is then. So it should be like $80, not, $16 or whatever. So it really is hard not to be frustrated about that stuff, dude, because of the fact that it's like, someone who is permanently disabled right now myself, and me even leaving this place yesterday was hard to leave, man, because my knee was so fucked up as what it is there. Because right now I have, from the fall I had back in 2010, and through all the other health problems I've had since I was 18 from the medication reaction, I now have at least 2 different degenerating discs in my back. And my doctor, when I saw him last week, he's pretty sure that my kneecap area of my tibia is degenerating down now too, is what it is from that fall that I had where I fell right on my kneecap was what it was there. So I'll be lucky if I'm not in a wheelchair at some point in the future is what it is now. And when I say that, I'm thinking like the next, like at the age of 40 right now, almost 41, because I'll be 41 come January 10th. I feel like it'll be probably like 45, I'll be like if I'm not in a fucking wheelchair or some kind of like cart or something is what it is there. So and by that I mean like the motorized kind of carts as I'm talking about there. Because yeah, I'm not in great shape is what it is. And the thing is that it's not like I don't want to lose weight too, because I know me losing weight would definitely help with like the kneecap area and stuff like that, and that issue. And probably my back too for that matter. But the problem is it's like it's very, very hard to lose weight, even if you're eating healthy, when you can't even really walk a whole lot without seriously injuring yourself, so it does that even more. So it's hard not to be, in a situation where you're basically fucked either way is what it is then. And of course that gets you depressed is what it is then. And now, you're in this whole fucked up situation all around is what it is now. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's like a constant just fucking, you feel like you're being fucked every which way is what it is then. So anyway. Continuing on here, back to the food stamp thing here. You got this person 11 minutes ago saying no income. It says, I am being asked to verify how I am paying bills with no income. Problem is I'm not. I'm stressed out because I have no money and have no way to pay. Going to be calling for rental and utility assistance soon. Can I be denied for being too poor to cover my bills? So that is kind of a hard thing to do, man, because it's like, I don't think I've ever had that kind of an issue, but like, my thing is, I know with that kind of deal, I believe it would be something along the lines of where you basically, it's not like, it actually is pretty easy to prove that shit, like, especially if you, like, because I'm assuming this person has a bank account, what it is there, which is what you have to have, obviously, to verify one thing or another, and it would basically be you just essentially giving them, like, a bank statement that shows, like, hey, like, here's, like, the $27 I have on a bank account, basically, and that's all I have in my name is what it is then. And if that can be verified, like, that's how they basically prove that stuff. And then that's where you get your various, like, rental assistance or, utility assistance, whatever it is there, I'm guessing. So, anyway. And the way I know that for a fact, obviously, is because when I was talking to the food stamp people the other day, because they were trying to cut my shit for December is what it is then, they were asking me about utility bills and leases and stuff like that's what it is, and I had to send them pictures of that stuff, what it was then, and they verified all that, and they're like, okay, you're good to go, you're still going to get what you were getting, is what it is then, so, and I'm like, good. So, yeah. So basically the whole thing there. Okay, I gotta read this one here on the EBT subreddit here. This person said I've changed, so 7 days ago. Let's see, I admit I had a perceived Notion about EBT. Well, if anything good has come from the shutdown, I no longer think the way I did. Had no idea about the work requirement or how hard it actually is to receive benefits. Well, that depends on state by state, is what it is, dude. Because and it also the work requirement thing again depends on state by state because whenever state requires you to work is what it is. Especially if you like even the whole thing with them doing the able bodied thing, where Trump's doing it like across the board now is what it is. If you are a single mother and has dependents and stuff like that, you don't have to go work for anything is what it is there. And the same thing goes for I think even guys and stuff like that is what it is. If you have like a kid and you're like their sole provider and shit like that, you don't have to go work and stuff. And then it's like various other people obviously qualifying that as well, to disabled and stuff like that, like myself, et cetera, et cetera. And that person says, sincerely apologize. Hope this ends well. Hope this ends soon. Also, don't want anyone to lose their health insurance. Whole situation is insane. Either way, you get your food stamps or lose health care. And then they go to a whole bunch of bullshit. Well, no. Again, Democrats admit it's click the wrong back button. So, anyway, yeah, Democrats admitted, specifically Catherine Clark, the Democrat whip, admitted like 3-4 weeks ago now what it was. It's all for fucking leverage, dude. It was all a way to fuck over the American people. And when you realize it's not Americans getting health care, it's the fucking illegals that these Democrats want the health care is what it is. That's why they should all be literally arrested for high treason at this point, dude, because they are trying to destroy the sovereignty of this nation. They're trying to destroy America as we fucking know it by bringing in a voter base of illegals to put their fucking piece of shit asses back in power again and again and again. And enough is enough of this fucking crap is what it is, dude, for real. It's absolute fucking garbage what it is, man. So... Jesus Christ. So going back to the food stamp subreddit there, got this guy. Woke up this morning for work and checked my EBT card. Grateful to say that my family and I have some shopping to do. Everything was super delayed yesterday. I hope everyone has a blessed Thanksgiving. Yeah, most people won't, dude. Especially the people that are paying into this shit. And I do want to point something out to you, by the way. I always was told anyway, and I think I looked into it a couple times before this, and I think it was at one point that way, where the only two races in this country that were net gains into the system and took out less than they put in is what it is, were whites and Asians. But apparently, I guess somebody did a new update to that study or whatever it was there and found out that actually, in fact, what they consider Asians now, which I think are a lot of Indians too, if I'm not mistaken, or the Asian categories, what it is there, are now taking out more than they're putting in. So the only net positive into the actual EBT system, SNAP benefits, whatever you call it there, or just benefits programs in general is what it is, are white people. Every other race is a net drain, with specifically black people being the biggest net drain of all what it is. And I think it's Latinos are like just above them is what it is there. So, yeah, it's just completely insane, dude, is what it is. That you have literally one race holding up the entire fucking system on their backs is what it is there. It's completely fucking frustrating as shit, basically, is the best way I can describe it, man. Another thing I found very interesting, too, going back to the EBT subreddit, here's what it is. You had this person saying, going back to the food bank this morning, that was 6 days ago, you got one per family, and it's various, like, cookies and, like, pastry stuff. So it's all processed junk, literally, that they're giving out to families as it is there at the food bank. Then you got donuts, cupcakes, various other stuff. I remember back in the day, like the little Hostess donut bags, dude. That is one thing I do remember. Like these little packs down here are like single-use packs and stuff like that. I remember back when I was a kid, and I think this probably is why I'm fat now, is what it is, but it's like one of those like weird fond memories because my mom was there with me, is what it is. And there was a Hostess store in Canton, Ohio. has now been turned into, I believe it's a catering business, if I'm not mistaken, took it over some years ago after Hostess went out of business the one time because they went bankrupt. And so basically what it was is it was like a Hostess store, but it was, what do you call it now? It was almost like a half off thing because it was like almost expired stuff in a lot of the cases is what it was there because they had, it was mostly I think it was like a lot of the leftover Hostess products that were taken there that were like maybe like a week or a couple of days from like hitting expiration of what it was. And then you had stuff that was like also pretty close to expiration dates, like bread and things like that, or like various like canned goods and things that were like the scratch and dent types of it is or whatever. And you could get those for like half price usually what it was there. But I remember they used to have when we went in there, it was a very small store actually. I think it was maybe like I think in total it was like 3 or 4 aisles actually of things you could pick up and whatnot. And so you would walk into the door, you'd have the carts right there is what it was, like right after you open the door basically. And then you'd have the little aisle there is what it was that was like right here. And that's where all like these little donut, like the little mini donuts were, but you also have like the big fat like chocolate donuts that was there too. And then if you went back against the wall is where all these breads and buns and things like that was what it is. And you could get like Texas toast there and stuff like that. And that's where we would get our Texas toast from as it was. And we'd have, my mom would make like really good grilled cheese sandwiches out of Texas toast is what it was. Like, oh my God, those were so good back in the day. That's a fun memory, dude. And then you would walk a little bit further in and there'd be like, it wasn't really like, I think there was like another like back aisles that it was. And then there was like various like stuff in between that were like all like the snack cakes and the pies and things like that. And you could go over to where the pie was at. And when I say pie, I'm not talking about like, these little teeny pies like this. I'm talking about like the like big fat like whole pie things like that were in the wrappers and things. And I want to say that on like every other day they were like almost $1 or like around $1, I think is what it was. But then it was like Wednesdays, I think is what it was. It was like half price or something. And I think they were either 50 cents or maybe they were like 45 cents or something back in them days. And so we would end up going on like a Wednesday afternoon or something after we got out of school as it was before they closed. Not every Wednesday, obviously, but like it would be maybe like once every month or two as it was that we would go over there and do this stuff. So it'd be like 6 to 12 times a year pretty much is what it would be there. And you could basically, mom would let us basically up on the pies that it is there because they were, half off or whatever it was. So instead of getting one, we could get like 2, and then it became, each one of us kids getting like 2 or 4 pies is what it was then. And of course, when you're eating that hyper processed food, that's gonna make you gain weight, obviously. But it was so good, man. You got your cherry because you had your cherry, you had your apple. I think there was like peach, and there was some lemons and stuff there too. And I would usually go with like the cherry and the apples just because they were the best of the two, obviously. And actually, the best of the 4 or 5 they had available as it was there. And then sometimes we'd get like, the ho-hos. Those are more expensive, obviously. Or we'd get like some cupcakes or something, which are also a little bit more expensive than it was there. Because, again, we didn't grow up rich or anything like that. We were very, very poor as it was. And I'm surprised my mom was able to raise us 3 kids on the money she had coming in at the time from my dad's military benefits, and I think it was like his death benefits and stuff like that as what it was from both the military and then obviously his Social Security is what it was that she was getting at one point there. But yeah, like if it was today, she would definitely be on the food stamps and stuff like that, dude, because there's no way she would be able to raise us on that stuff otherwise. But she was mostly a proud woman is what it was, dude. She still worked during our childhood, obviously. She would do she would make cakes from the house is what it was at one point. This was before obviously you had to go and be, getting like various licensing and stuff like that. And then eventually she ended up going to work at a local restaurant making their pies and stuff like that in the back there. Because all she knew how to do basically was, various pies and cakes and stuff like that. And it was during my childhood when I was like, I want to say around like 11 or 12 maybe, is when she started working at Walmart then, because she worked there almost 20 years as it was. Her her body basically gave on her the last couple months before she was going to make 20 years as it was. And it was mostly because of the Parkinson's kicking in, then is what it was. But then, of course, I think it was also, this was right around the time of lockdowns and stuff. And I know she took the COVID shots. The Pfizer one specifically, because I found the little thing that they gave her is what it was. And the thing that pisses me off is, I know that's what killed her, man. I know that's what fucking killed her was the Vaxxamillion bullshit, because she took it on the same day that DeWine announced that crap's what it was. So that's why I hold that motherfucker personally responsible for her death, honestly, at this point. And that's why I hold Amy Acton secondarily responsible, because she was the one that caused the lockdowns in the state in the first place. And of course, when you look at Vivek, he was also involved in that crap too, because he was on like some border at the time then. When it came to like shutting down schools and things like that. So, anyway, they're all fucking scumbags. They all want to be in prison forever is what it is, man. But the point of the matter is, going back to what I was saying though, it's one of those things where you have like a fond memory of like, various food is what it is, because you grew up and you had like a fun time with your family is what it is then, and it was basically, you going out and being able to go get a treat as a kid is what it really was. And then being able to, run back into the car or whatever and be eating like one of your pies on the way home is what it is or whatever then. So, and it was just simpler times, honestly, as a child, Like, it was just so, like, I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like looking back, I feel like my childhood was like, it wasn't like super great, obviously, but like at the same time, like I had a lot of good memories, and a lot of those people are gone now. And a lot of them shouldn't be, is what it is. And it's like, it fractures your psyche a little bit, is what it is, man. Because all you want is justice for these people. And you're almost never going to get it as what it is now. Because they were never being held to account in half a fucking decade now since this shit happened now. And then you wonder why people just snap in these breaks, is what it is, man. And it's not that hard to figure out. And this is why I think so many people in this country at the end of our ropes is what it is, man. Like, we're just done with this shit. We are fucking over it, and we want America first. And Americans only is what it is. We want a better life for ourselves. We want a better life for the American people is what it is. We don't want to have all this fucking outsiders come in and rob us blind and embezzle from us and steal from us. And jack our pie is what it is, dude. Like, we want the fucking pie. It's not their pie to have anyways, what it is there. It's like, it's not a shrinking pie. It's you literally fucking taking a big chunk out of the fucking pie and giving it to these assholes is what it is. And the fact of the matter is, with H-1B shit, all it takes is one American to sign up for one of these job listings, and right then and there, you can no longer have H-1Bs at the hookup at all is what it is, man. And that's why they'll take these job listings and they'll put them in the back of like some fucking Indian newspaper or some bullshit. Or some, crappy magazine nobody's going to read anyway, except for some fucking random troll order who it is there, man. But yeah, as soon as you put the number out there and you have like 10 different Americans calling up and being like, hey, I want this job, that's when these companies can no longer hire H-1Bs. And even Trump is guilty of this shit, because at Mar-a-Lago there, in the past year or two, he has hired a bunch of H-1B visa holders, what it is, man. And this is what I'm saying, like, honestly, at this point, like, I would say, fuck Trump, get him the fuck out of office, what it is right now. Like, either impeach this motherfucker or just kick him out. One of the ways is what it is there. Have Vance take over for the next couple of years here. We'll see what like a 2-year presidency of JD Vance looks like at that point. If it's any better, if it's worse, that matter. And if he's, just as bad or whatever, then okay, cool. We'll just vote in somebody else in 2020 is what it is then. So, but yeah, I don't think we're getting any better in this country right now. And I think we're definitely heading towards very much tribalistic warfare is what it is right now. And I think the more and more that you see this importation of just like literally 76 average IQ Indian trash being brought into this country right now, dude, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. When in reality, we don't need these people here. We don't need most immigration here at all is what it is. What we need is we need to build up American families again. We need to incentivize Americans having children, whether they be white, black, Latino, Asian, etc., as long as they call themselves an American and are willing to speak fucking English. That is what needs to be the American people at this point, dude. We need to have a better country for us. We need to have a better country for Americans. We need to have a better country where you can have big families again and you can have single income households that can support a big family again. And that's not going to happen when you keep importing people day after day after day, which is going to need at least a 100-year moratorium on all immigration in this country. And I mean that seriously. And if there is a way that I can get it blocked out in the next couple of years now, I am running on that platform specifically is what it is right now. A stop on all immigration whatsoever, illegal and legal both, done, gone for 100 fucking years. We mass deport, and we have people forced to assimilate, and that starts with everybody speaking English as the first and only language of this country is what it is. Because until that happens, we are never going to have unity, we are never going to have solidarity, and we are never going to have a united front in this country is what it is. And it's just going to turn into this fucked up tribal bullshit that's going to eventually lead to a 5 to 10 year war between everybody, and nobody's going to survive as what it is when it's all said and done. So it's time for America first, Americans only, and it's time to get fucking shit done. And it's that simple. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode today, and I'll see you all on the next one. We'll be doing a new Slicey Boy Saturday episode tomorrow with a little preview that I got yesterday. Yes, I finally got one of the Ozark oranges, is what it is. So, yeah, that'll be one of the blades to talk about tomorrow, along with a bunch of fixed blades and stuff like that I've picked up over the last few months now is what it is. So, anyway. Till later, I'll see you guys about this time tomorrow for Slicey Boy Saturday. And then we will be back for probably a grandstand at some point in the coming days as well. Obviously, if Hana does his chats on Sunday, we'll do his panel. Otherwise, it'll be his panel on Tuesday, potentially. And then from there, we'll figure it out after the fact. So, but yeah, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed this. Stay safe, stay vigilant, always be caring, always know your outs. And it's time to be Americans first, man. It's time to be for America, for Americans first, and for us to be a good, productive country again that doesn't need mass immigration and mass migration to support our nation, where it's literally not even supporting our nation, it's billionaires trying to fuck over our nation by hiring lowest common denominator slave class. It's time to get rid of the slave class, and it's time to have Americans actually get a working wage again that they can support a family on. End of story. Peace out, y'all. Later.